Hi there,
Hello.
welcome back to our channel. I'm Nikki.
I'm Rachel and we're the Stitch Sisters.
We are back today with a whole series of videos for you all about denim.
It's one of our favourite fabrics and it has always been a staple in our wardrobes. Who doesn't love a pair of jeans? And so we have decided to bring you a series of videos with everything you would ever want to know about making jeans. So let's start with what actually is denim. So, before we actually start looking at the fabrics themselves, why don't we start by talking about what denim actually is? Because we all know what denim looks like, we all would recognise denim.
Yes.
But it does help to understand a little bit about the denim making process and kind of what the fabric is actually made of. So we might refer to our notes a little bit here just to make sure we don't miss anything. Now, denim is a woven fabric, we know that, and it usually has a twill weave, which is when you look very closely at your jeans, you'll see these diagonal ridges that usually start in the left-hand corner and they move up diagonally towards the right, and that is basically a right-hand twill weave, which is the most common type of denim that you get.
You'll find, yeah.
And we all know that the colour associated with denim is
indigo.
Correct.
And traditionally this was a natural indigo which came from a plant which I'm not even going to pronounce. It's
Indigo tinctoria.
And it was one of the most expensive things at the time when things were being imported from India to the UK. So things like gold and silks and things like that.
Coffee, tea, those kind of things.
It was very expensive.
It was as valuable.
But nowadays, most of the denim, like the vast majority of the denim that you will buy, will be a synthetic indigo dyed denim.
Yes.
And the reason for that is that the traditional natural denim is very expensive to make. It takes a lot of land, it takes a lot of work, much more than cotton.
Yeah. In fact, we read a fact that said, we're going to share lots of facts with you, because we love a good fact, that to use natural indigo in the dyeing process, you would need 13 acres of land to grow the indigo and then 1 acre of land to grow the cotton that you would dye with the 13 acres worth of indigo. So that ratio doesn't quite add up, and it's not the most sustainable way to produce denim. Not that denim is particularly sustainable, and we will get into that. We will discuss that in a later video about how you can balance the sustainability of making your own jeans. But clearly, you can still get natural indigo now, but it's often referred to as natural indigo or real indigo, true indigo. And you do see that some places, but you just have to bear in mind that actually it is considerably less sustainable than synthetic indigo. Natural's not always better, and in this case, it's
probably not. But also, I would imagine if you do find it, it would be very expensive.
Yes.
And the difference that we are talking about here is obviously that we are looking at fabrics that we can buy in the shops, not necessarily jeans that we're buying in the shops that have already been pre-made. So there is a difference. There's a difference between the quality, not the quality, but the modernity of the fabric you can buy in the shops as compared to the fabric that you can buy in the dressmaking shops to make your own.
Yeah, we are noticing that the fabrics manufacturers are a little bit behind, because if you think about it, when you are Levi's or if you're some of these like premium Japanese denim brands, all of their focus and all of their technology is going into finding new innovations for denim. So for instance, something that you pointed out to me recently is that it used to be that you could only get stretch denim in a fairly low weight.
Yes.
Which is why you see it a lot in skinny jeans and jeggings, because they tend to use a lower weight of denim. And they are now starting to add it into heavier weights, so you can get them in men's kind of jeans weights like 13, 14, 15 ounce denims. But in Japan recently, they just had a breakthrough where they've managed to make a 21 ounce stretch denim, which is crazy. But the fact that it's taken years and years and years of research to get to the point where they can do that just goes to show how much time and effort and money and stuff is spent on researching denim fabrics. Now, it takes a long time for that to trickle through
Absolutely.
to the home sewer market. And whilst you do occasionally find denim dead stock or ex-designer denims, we
rare.
struggle quite a lot to find them.
They tend to be patterned. Whenever I've seen them, they've been a specific pattern, so it's a leopard print or it's a spot or something like that that maybe isn't as universally usable as your normal indigo dyed denim.
Yeah, and we think one of the reasons you don't see it in dead stock as much is probably just because it's all, even the smallest offcuts are reusable, and that's another thing that really excites us about making our own jeans, is we're going to have, not only have we got all these denim samples, but we're going to have all of the offcuts of our jeans projects, and we are not going to waste a scrap. We are going to be making denim, patchwork, everything. So we will definitely be making the most of every little bit. And I think that's what a lot of fashion designers are also now doing, which is why you don't see as much denim fabric in dead stock. But anyway, we digress from the main point, which is we were doing a lot of that, which is explaining kind of what denim is. So let's talk a little bit about the denim weave, because it's actually the way that it's woven that makes it denim. So we all know what a twill is, it's got those ridges. Now, what usually happens with denim fabric is that the indigo fibres are just the warp fibres. So the warp is the one that goes parallel to the selvage, so it runs vertically down the fabric.
Yes.
And they are usually indigo. Now the weft fibres, which usually go perpendicular to the selvage, so across
between
the fabric,
the selvages,
they're white. And the way that denim usually works is that you have one white yarn that's running across the fabric, and then you can have 1, 2 or 3, sometimes even more, of the indigo warp fibres weaving through that. And depending on how many of those indigo fibres you have for every one of those white fibres will determine how heavy that fabric is, but also how deep that indigo colour is. So if you think about, for instance, a chambray, a chambray is a 1-on-1 weave basically. So it's got one white weft and it's got one indigo warp. No, one white weft and one indigo warp,
which is the kind of the weight of cotton. So it'll be 1-on-1, which is very similar to a cotton or a cotton lawn, something like that. So that's the level you're looking at for chambray.
Yes, exactly. And it's the fact that it is just 1-on-1, which not only makes it a lightweight fabric, but it also makes it a lighter colour. Because it's just 1-on-1, you can see the white weft fibres from the other side. Whereas on a heavier weight denim, which is most likely to be a 3-in-1, so you've got 3 indigo warp fabrics or yarns, and then you've got one white weft yarn going across it. So that's going to make those ridges, those twill ridges, deeper, which is going to make the fabric heavier. But it also means you're going to have a much more intense colour because it's 3-to-1. So you've got 3 indigo for every one. But it's also why denim's always lighter on the reverse side, because on the reverse side, that's where you're seeing those white weft fibres, and on the right side, you're seeing the dyed warp fibres. So hopefully that kind of explains a little bit about how denim is actually created.
Another interesting thing was we were talking about the actual dyeing process.
Yes.
And as your denim is dyed and then you wear it as jeans, the indigo dye will naturally start fading off of the threads that are made up into your jeans, in the parts of the jeans that are taking the most wear. So on the knees, behind the knees, on the seams, that kind of thing. And what's happening there is that the indigo dye from your threads is basically fading, so you're getting the white coming through underneath. And basically that's why you get faded patches on your jeans, which is what we all want, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. And I actually read that it said that the way that happens is that the modern synthetic dyes, they don't actually get into the core of the yarn. They just dye the outsides of it.
Okay.
So what that means is that as it gets worn and washed over time, the core, which is still white, starts to reveal itself. And that's why you get those worn patches that we all desire so much. So there are all sorts of different techniques that you can use to speed that process up. But the main thing that we want to talk about is how it's made and the different treatments that are used to create different looks and different colours. It's all very complex.